It's a bit dark. Hang on a second. Ah, there I was. Wow, that was a bit scary. I forgot I didn't have the light on. Crazy. Um, Hello, all those people that aren't here yet. So, just want to say a few things really. Firstly, the kind words and concerns from people that they say about the videos that I do. So I appreciate that more than most people know. To be fair, just on a different topic, Calazar did something about Xavier Marks, the missing solution, and I have no idea what that is all about, and I haven't got the book, etc. But I was watching some of it and saw Eric Balfour, and they were talking about him being a lead singer, and I thought, I know that face. I used to watch a program. So while I was listening to Mike, I was looking up Eric Balfour and found that the program was The Haven. But I was interested in some of the stuff that was being said and the clues. So I chucked a few things on the site that thought may be relevant, and I have no idea if that would be the case. So apologies to Mike if that random information that I chucked on there is nothing to do with anything. So, according to Dave, Man from the East, the one true solve is going to court, and then I think the bat said the same thing. So I'm not sure if the bat is Dave or if the bat is somebody else saying that that solve is going to court. I sent him a comment about, I can't remember what it was about, to be fair, but I know it had litigation in it. Oh, Super Mario. That was it. That's what I said. He forgot about Super Mario in his superhero solve. And he sent back, do your homework. I don't know if he knows this or not, but the fact that I did do my homework is how I sent him that message. Because homework was the word that led to the message that I gave him. The information that led to, ending litigation. I don't know if it's coincidence or whether Dave is part of, what's going on. I don't know if he knows that homework is the word that's there, or he was trying to imply that I didn't know what was going on in the chase. But I can tell you now, Dave, that I have done my homework, and the words that I sent you are, relevant to what is happening. So one of the words is confidence. Forrest said, "Hi, Bill. How are you doing?" No, Forrest didn't say. Well, he might have said that at some point. He might have said, "Hi, Bill. How are you doing?" But that's not what I meant. Forrest said that he was able to attain a girl like Peggy because of his tenacity. And that should have made everybody start thinking that Forrest was not using the correct words in the information that he was giving us. So we might have to look a little deeper. So I would say, confidence could fit in there. He wasn't short of confidence. But Forrest told us that a person would move with confidence. So the words I'm not going to go through all the words, like I have done. And if you wish to, the word hippo app, and you will see the relevance of the word confidence in the chase. And also, the statements like, with my last gasping breath, I'm going to throw myself on that chest, on my body, on my bones, or the blueprint that somebody was on about the other day. And there are other words that I can't think of at the moment. But I don't see how people, and again, who's who in the zoo, and who's helping, and who's a real searcher, and who isn't a real searcher, and all of those things, that I've been thinking about. The underlying thing that I've come across in the chase is those people who are front and center and in the chase tend to disappear. And the one constant has been Mike and K-Pro, to be fair. Well, separately and then together. So since I came into the chase, those people that, were there, that I watched, have all gone. And there's only Mike and K-Pro left. And to be fair, I've never really gone to the hint of riches. Mike was like, the coffee and the videos that he did, even the try the wheel video that he did. But it's weird that those people that were like the bread and butter of the chase, the what you would expect to see and hear, just like dwindled away. And now there's, not much at all. And the stuff that's out is, again, who's who in the zoo and what the information that's supposed to come out. And people put out information and I make comments, and I don't think they understand. Oh, sorry. Hi, Paul. Hi, House Whisper. Absolutely, House Whisper. That is the it's not, that is what I fully believe, and that was, I don't know if it's the same for you. So yes, there are people in chat that I think are helping, but it seems like everybody is a helper, even if they are on the negative side of it. And I'd say the same for Josh. I put information out, and they seem to think that I don't understand what they're saying, but the information I put is because I think I understand what they're saying and expect the person on the other end to understand, what I'm referencing, if they're part of, helping Forrest. And I believe, that probably 99.9% of the people that I watched or spoke to in chat, were part of that group. And, I believe Davey's not part of that group. So he is a searcher. But I could probably count on one hand the people that I believe are searchers in the chase. Yeah. Nah, well, I have to be honest, we don't get many earthquakes or tremors But we had one today, which is quite surprising, really, because they're not the sort of tremors that you lot get, house shaking and that. But this was more of a something hit the ground and the ground shook, rather than a earth tremor, if you understand that. So it's like there's I don't know, either the earth cracked. It wasn't a rumbling. I tried to explain it to Yvonne. It's more like if you have both doors in the house open and the wind goes through and one of the doors shut. It was like that, boom, and then it was gone. So it might have something to do with the many UFOs that are being spotted around and things going on, or it's just that I need a new laptop, which is more likely. Yeah, nobody in their right mind. So Dal, Cynthia, Justin, nobody in their right mind does more than 50 searches. No, what? If you've gone out 50 times as a real searcher, you're pretty much going to say, no, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and there's no way I'm going to solve this. But if you're going out, 100, 200 more, then you're in it for, something else other than finding whatever it is supposed to be looked for. And there aren't many people that can afford to do that many searches. So it was a bit, I wasn't expecting to see that name. His neighbour. Yeah, unfortunately, my neighbour felt it too. So the Ukraine bombing. No, well, I'm a bit far away from London, so I don't think it's there. No, there's definitely something happened. I don't know if the Earth is letting us know stuff, but something happened that doesn't normally happen, and this was not a tremor. This was a violent shaking, not and just a quick explosive tremor, if there's such a thing. God, not quite Bill, but he probably is, but I don't think that's what did it. He's probably seen how high it will let him fly, maybe to the moon and back. So a word like tenacity, Forrest gave us, and that gave me a word like confidence, because a guy would move with confidence, or the solver will move with confidence, or the finder will move with confidence, whatever the statement is. Metal, resolve, and that goes with tenacity also. Wow, I don't think I would enjoy that. Yeah, this just felt like two doors were open both sides of the house, and the wind went through, and one of the doors shut, and you felt it. Ooh, Paul, how you doing? Getting a bit. Actually, I was going to talk about something like that. I can't remember what it was. More religious and spiritual. I can't remember what it was. Something to do with confidence. Yeah, I'm not that versed on the verses and the Psalms and the revelations in the Bible. I did do the you have to read the Bible from start to finish thing. So I did do that from the start to the finish. And it was very repetitive. So same thing from different perspectives. But it was also very contradictory. A bit like Chase, really. The worst thing I got from it was, no, not the worst thing. The strange thing I got from it was that if Adam and Eve were the first people when they left the Garden of Eden, they bumped into some other people. What? So I explained that like maybe they were, alien people. Maybe they were people from, another planet or whatever. I believe that, we create time because it doesn't really exist. So 1,000 years in the future, who's to say, or 2,000 or 3,000, who's to say that God isn't one of us who's in charge of everything and is able to do all of the things that we don't believe are possible? For Troy, why for Troy? Didn't know anything was wrong with Troy, but I obviously second that. It's hard to know, if Frank is being honest or not. But yeah, if there is something wrong with Troy or his family, then I agree with that, Frank. Yeah. It's something to do with. Oh, it was Xavier Marks. Something to do with entering heaven. Just flipped up on. Well, Frank, it seems like nobody knows. Or is he talking about Troy in Greece? So you have to be more specific, Frank. I didn't know if there was anything, or if Frank is playing his game. Still no answer then. Troy doesn't live anywhere near you, though, does he, Frank? So you would have to have found out through some way. Troy's in Turkey. I'm pretty sure Troy's in Greece, or that sort of place. Just a joke. Oh, shit. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, my heart goes out to Troy and his family. I don't know. I don't know much in the chase, to be fair. Um, you know, a horrible thing going through my head is that it's hard to know whether Frank is being honest or not, but I'm pretty certain he's being honest at this point in time. Ancient Greece, but in modern Turkey. Okay, we'll go for that. Yeah, that's a bit of a downer for all of us. So, to be fair, I was just getting over Shelley losing her husband. So, no, I don't think he would, but um, yeah, my condolences, Troy, and I'm sure the whole search community feel the same way. Yeah, Troy's a good guy. Troy's a good guy. Um, I think most people in the chase are good guys. Um, you know, playing roles, and those are synonyms of the word, like Joker. Being a maverick, and card. 4 cards and a Joker. So, what are you really being told? Happiness is the pot, and that sort of information. But if most of the people are actors, and it seems that way when you look at the roles that they played, and how we have the enemy friend scenario going on. And the fact that things are supposed to be fake. You knew it's before you knew it was fake, you wanted to buy it. Now you know it's fake, you don't want to buy it. Those sort of statements. When me and David B were talking, we were saying Street seemed to fell off the planet, and Troy we haven't heard from. Greg doesn't do as many videos. I think Josh has been the main person to keep the chase going. Albeit with like 30 videos a day or something, as opposed to 30 in 1 week. Wow. That wasn't why we got a tremor, I don't think, INFJ. But it was that sort of feeling that had happened. Like something had crashed into the ground, excuse me, and, caused a wave. I'm still here. And you live in Montana then, do you? Montana's a big place. Good mornings. Saturdays. Davy B. All is good in our world. I was just telling people that, we had a little tremor. It wasn't even a tremor, it was like a second of something shaking, the house shaking. Felt like something had hit the ground, and it probably felt, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 miles away. So it must be pretty substantial, but it's very quick. It'd be interesting to see what, if any, damage was happened anyway. But to be fair, where we are, there are lots of mines, so it could be that some of the ground has not, some of the tunnels have not been, done properly. And the ground has said, "Oops, I can't stand up." I hope with that information, INFJ, that it was somewhere, whilst it's bad for the people in there. Hopefully they ejected, but hopefully it didn't land anywhere where people were. About, I don't know, about 2-3 hours ago. Maybe more. It's 1 o'clock in the morning now. 3 or 4 hours ago, probably. It didn't feel like an earthquake. So it's middle of England. We're in the middle of England. It absolutely felt like something hit the ground and the ground shook, as opposed to the earth shook. Like I say, it was just like the door slamming when you open 2 doors at both sides of the house, and one of the door slams. You feel the vibration and it stops. That was it. That's as quick as it was. Don't trust the government. Is that your government or all governments? There was movement at the station, for the word was passed around. Yeah, we don't get earthquakes that often, to be fair, and when we do, it's like 2 point or 3 point something. It's nothing to shout about. This was quite out of um, out of nowhere, really. To be fair, I thought the neighbour had fallen on the floor badly or something. Um, it was just a quick thud, and that was it. Why shouldn't we trust the government, Paul? Your government or all governments? Yeah, wrong time of year for that, but yeah, it's strange. It's definitely strange that that's happened. But the whole world's going through different things at the moment, so strange weather, strange events. There's some panic about the volcano in Yellowstone acting up. Some volcanoes around the world, really, to be fair, all the one in Italy's deciding to make a move and stuff. Don't know what that's in relation to, Banjo Patterson. Know about the dueling banjos. You still haven't answered, Paul. Don't trust the government. Why should we not? Well, some strange things. So there's a Russian, I don't know if it was a coup or whatever, I can't remember how they termed it, but it was the first sort of, let's get Putin out, and then it was over, and, it's almost like he's been paid off. Don't go against me, and then he does, and everything's okay. It's like, I don't know. The things that are happening in the world at the moment don't make sense. Absolutely not. But no, I didn't know that they were losing. To be fair, I'm unsure what the war is about. I'm unsure why it's allowed to go ahead. I'm unsure why it's taken so long to not get anywhere. So this is probably how it felt for you Yanks, as they were called then, in World War One and World War Two, when you called it the phony war. It seemed like nothing was happening. No, I didn't think they were in Iraq. Did you hear that Russia is losing in Iraq? Like you, Maria, they're not in Iraq, they're in Ukraine. The whole point of it, and they're not losing. It's all Josh's fault. You're right there, Bill. No, that's what I was just saying. It doesn't seem like anything's happening. Whilst all the news is that most of the world is helping Ukraine with weapons and stuff, it doesn't seem like much is happening either way. Blowing bridges up and doing certain things, but there doesn't seem to be much ground gained or much ground given, or any nearer resolution. The world seems to just think it's okay to carry on and we'll just help you fight. I don't get it. I don't get why that's the case and why it should take that much aid to not have any effect. if you didn't have that much stuff to begin with, you should have been overrun. And now you're getting all that aid. You're not even, getting your own land back as such. I don't really follow it, but it just doesn't make sense. It's a bit like the chase. People are fighting but not fighting. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, you're president. I don't understand that either. The world is crazy. There is no way on this earth that man is president of the United States. It doesn't happen. If we lived in any other time, they'll probably send someone around here to shoot me now, but sorry, Joe Biden, you just, no. No, I don't know who voted for you. I don't know how you stay in power. I don't know how you wake up every day. From the outside looking in, that doesn't set a good example. Yeah, Forrest said something like that. Nice statement, Davey. Yeah, Joe Biden has said a lot of crazy things just lately. He's talked about the Queen not long ago. She's passed. Long live the Queen. What? I don't know which Queen he's talking about. And that's all it seems to be, Paul. It seems to be, we need to make some money. So let's build tanks and planes and stuff and let's destroy them in war and let's build some more, make some more money. Well, that's just it. They won't be depleted. That you just make more. You just make more money, don't you? Send over all that artillery and stuff, destroy it, and then make some more and send some more over and destroy it, and then just keep getting richer. Don't know. It'd be like again another thing that's supposed to be blamed on certain people is let's bring out a disease. Let's bring out a virus, kill a lot of people, then make a vaccine to cure it and make money out of it. It's like what? That's how this world's gone. Let's do all this stuff and make money. Doesn't look like we are building that. Well, all around the world, there are people building jet fighters, tanks, ships, bombs. Maybe let's get rid of all the older stuff and replace them with the newer stuff rather than just spin them. Yeah, like I say, it doesn't have to be American or Australian or whatever. It could be German, it could be Chinese, could be whatever. But all around the world, there are people who are making arms and making money. How deep is a hole? Can't be any deeper than the US. I don't know how that came about. I have no idea how. Go back a few years, and I don't care whether you hate Trump or not. I don't think that you have to like the person in charge. I think that the person in charge has to be good at what he does or she does or they do or whatever the word's going to be. And he was good at it. All around the world, he made a difference to people, including the USA. And people don't like him, and they don't like him. But the results speak for themselves. I'd have him over here, in a heartbeat if he could do the same with us again and make us, Great Britain like we used to be instead of just, Britain, because we're not that great, at all. And that's just, I love my country, and I love, the United Kingdom and all that we stood for, but we don't stand for much nowadays. David, you're getting very philosophical today. Yeah, as Forrest said, can't we all just get along? But it's almost as though, like I say, it's just about making money. Then, or they just hide in the truth. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are dying every day, needlessly. But that's not the information we get. Every now and again, something was bombed, and that's it. That's all we hear. It's like, has there been any fighting or not? And there probably has, and I don't mean to undermine it, but it's like, I don't know. So, that was my first fear, that once Putin went into Ukraine, North Korea, South Korea, China, things were going to kick off, and that would, not be good for those in Australia. I think around the world now, the best way to destroy another country is to just infiltrate it in their economic infrastructure, and just take over that way. I don't know what the thanks is for, but thanks, INFJ. No, I don't go into France. That's the information that I got. That Shelley Locke, I think his name's Kevin. About a week, maybe. I think that's what I've been told. I think Shelley. I think Capro said it in one of her shows. So, and I've no reason not to believe Capro, just like I've no reason not to believe Frank. They say something like that. Apparently, he wasn't well. So yeah. My thoughts are still with her and her family. As I said, AGK were my first, steps into the chase. Watching 5 something or other, and why it's not in Yellowstone, and those sort of things. Those were the first ones that I got into. So my first thought when Biden got into power was, why would you shut that pipeline down? I don't get it. Why would you not keep the wall? Like I say, it doesn't matter whether you hate Trump or like Trump. His aim was to make the United States, the greatest nation there is, or keep it the greatest nation there is. However, you want to see that. But it just seems to all fall apart. Why have you asked about France? Is it because of the golden hour? Hi, Wig. How are you doing? Good to read you. You haven't missed much. I was, I first talked about Xavier. I don't, I have no interest in that treasure hunt. It's just that I saw Mike's, missing solution. I thought, what's that all about? And then I got dragged in because I saw Eric Balfour, and I thought, he's not a singer. He's an actor. I've watched him in a program, and then looked, for the program, realised it was Haven. And then while I was doing that, I could hear him talk, and I thought, oh, I'll just throw some answers onto some comments onto his channel. And they're probably totally wrong because I've no idea what the hunt is all about, or what you're supposed to be finding, or what the hints are. But really, I came on to talk about the word confidence and those sort of things. Why Forrest said, the find would move with confidence. Why he wasn't short of tenacity. How those things are linked. With my last gasping breath, I was talking about thinking about the dinosaur. OD was by way of the dinosaur, and people have information that I already know about or understand, and some people have information that go beyond what I understand, and they're believable pieces of information. So if you want something that may be credible, then go to Hush Whisperers site and channel, whatever you want to call it, and see what they have to say. Whilst I don't, I won't change what I think. I won't change that, but I will listen to others and see what what they think. The poem was meant to be solved. I believe that totally. The poem was meant to be solved by as many people as could possibly solve it with all the information that leads to souls. And there's probably still 12 people to 20 people that absolutely believe that they have the correct solve, and they're just either waiting or believe that they've been done out of it, if they're real searchers. Shut down for China into. Yeah, the all of that was said, and the laptop that his son had, and everything else. But I don't know how he got in and how he did that, and how he was allowed to sign, 17 or whatever of those, changes of rules or laws or whatever, without it going through the process that it goes through. Maybe a president should be able to have a limit of, should be able to do some changes that he feels are, or they feel, whatever the word is, are necessary to bring the country back on track. But that many, that's just, I'm doing it because I can do it. And I don't know how that's legal. I don't know how you can just have one person in charge that just randomly says, yes, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and nobody have a say. Like I say, that's very probable, but it doesn't help the United States. And it may or may not help Canada, depending on the rate that they were getting, and the ease of the operation. In order to transfer it in that way, there's probably more cost than just sending it down the pipeline. So I don't know. Maybe China owns the ships and they take the full cost, and it just stays in the pipeline. But why? I don't know. I don't get it. Things aren't as they seem. Well, and that's what I don't get about the whole world, let alone the chase. Things aren't as they seem. And I believe it totally about the chase, and yet I have a reassurance in my own mind that I can understand what those those are. But in the grand scheme of things around the world, crazy things happening. And not just in the world, but in our solar systems, crazy things are happening. And probably won't be long before false flag and all that stuff, but they're exactly what they seem. No, the soul should be, unique. That's all about Forrest, isn't it? Has to be unique. Has to be the rarest of rare. That doesn't take away from the fact that all those souls are diamonds. You just happen to have the best diamond if you have the correct soul. It doesn't take away from the fact that they're all good, but it has to be unique. I think people are tending to want a soul that everyone can believe, as opposed to it being a democracy. So they want a soul that's believable. That lends to what Forrest said. Yeah, that's way out of my pay grade, Frank. I don't know all of that. I think Paul's talking about the chase. Everything's as it seems sometimes. Yes, sometimes life is stranger than fiction. Absolutely. Yeah, I think Dave will tell you differently. He will tell you that the one true soul is going to court. And like I said, somebody else said that. And, that is something that I hinted at a couple of days ago, I think. That in order for there to be a resolution, then the one true soul, which I don't think is Dave's, but, I can't say he's wrong, will go to court, and prove Forrest correct, because that is my aim, to prove Forrest correct, not to prove me correct, because I didn't do anything. Forrest did all this and was going to make it happen, and steered everybody in whatever direction was necessary to make it happen. So something as a chase, Forrest knew, probably before the chase started, what was going to end it. Ooh, Frank, is life imitating art, or is his art imitating life? Cool, no. But then, like I say, that's who's who in the zoo. If Dave is truly a searcher who feels that he's been shafted, for want of a better word, I mean, I make no bones about it. Out of all the souls that I can't say are wrong, Dave says his soul is wrong every time he puts out a video. So in the last video he did, he said that the cross wasn't there. Charlo was digging, and after Charlo was digging, the cross was there. And then he bases his soul on the cross that Forrest Fenn put there. But it wasn't there. He says in his video it wasn't there. So that means Charlo put it there, and Charlo wrote those names on there, and it has nothing to do with what Forrest Fenn was talking about. Or, he's got his facts wrong that he's put out. He's telling us there was no cross and Charlo was digging there. And then when he went back, there was a cross. But if his soul is solely based on the cross, then the cross should have been there from the very beginning, because it meant that Forrest put it there, not Charlo. It doesn't make sense to me. Either the cross is there at the very beginning and Forrest put it there, and it was there when Charlo was digging there, or the cross wasn't there and Forrest didn't put it there. And sometimes I hear what he says, but I don't understand it because it doesn't make no sense. It's definitely not in water. It's definitely a man-made structure that the chest is associated with, and lots of other things that make me think, what? But hey ho, yeah, that is the. I think when the world knows what Forrest did. Wow. Um, yeah, he probably will be thrown out of court, but it will be in court then if he's thrown out. I've got my case number, he says, or my whatever number, but he hasn't got a date. So I watched that Capo video. It's the first one I looked at in a while. Which video was that? I must have missed that. If Forrest was talking about pirate. Oh, hang on. The last one, the audio. The bit where there was a lot of silence. Then. So the soul will be needed by TV people and make 10 to 20 million. He can't assume. So the whole process that I went through was never assumed, because if you assume, that's out of you and me. So my thought was to deduce, which is a good word in the chase if you synonym it. Everything that I did, even though people laugh at it, and you only see, the crazy, crazy, crazy. I don't know whether I'm crazy or whether Forrest was crazy, because I don't know how he did it. And Davey B says must be some good mushrooms or something, because it's crazy stuff. Yeah, I think I'm not a Forrest fan, but it looks like he thought of everything. Everything that's happening is testimony to someone who was, always ahead of the game. And that, I don't know. It's hard to know what is embellishment and what isn't, but a good leader is, is Forrest Fenn. We, in whichever role that we're playing, have all followed Forrest without him having to, drag us, kicking and screaming. Yeah, I think Davy B's is today, isn't it, Davy? You 29th? Mine's today, I think. So, no offense. Yeah, it just. Yeah, it's not about. It's not about. It's not about the soul needing the action. It's to stop people making the crazy accusations. You may be Paul, but it's not about being a coattail at all. It's about being honest with yourself. It's. I look at people in the chase and what they're doing, and some of it looks very negative. But from a realistic point of view, these things have to happen. They have to happen. But Phil, people need to. Well, I don't know what it takes to impress you. Maybe you should come this side of the poem. And that's what I believe. The real, well, it doesn't even have to be the solved. It's just a poem. The poem will just, don't know who did it. In a blaze of glory. Who is the true soul? He is, not who they are. So it's a man, is it, Paul? Well, I think Forrest removed Jack as soon as he brought him in. I think that was the whole point. Forrest said they wouldn't, while he was in the forces, they would never start anything unless they knew that they had a way out. And I think the whole point is, not to be able to agree on one person, because then that would narrow down whether, anything done was illegal or not. Well, it's a shy guy from back east. That's who it is. Yeah, a few hours away. Yeah, I bet you can't wait for that. Hey Tim, how you doing? Never late. It's never late. Never have to apologise for being late. The fact that you're here is the main thing. Unless you're bringing me dinner, then you can apologise as much as you want if you bring me dinner. I don't know. I had 27% agree on the cipher. Well, there's more than one cipher in that poem. I think Paul knows which comment I'm reading. Oh, James Dean. I don't put that. Dang. Yeah, David B told me about that. I missed that quote, I must admit. There's not a lot that I haven't looked at what Forrest has said. But I must admit there are a few things that people say and I think, what? Forrest said that, did he? Yeah, okay. Hi Zozo, how you doing? Sup? Sup? Yeah, that died down, didn't it? What's that? No one cipher. No, one cipher. No, I didn't say that it was a bunch of souls that matched together, although the potential is high, but there is more than one cipher. And not necessarily just the poem, because you have the ID card, which has important information based on known. I don't know if they're ciphers or. Oops, sorry. I don't know if they're ciphers or what. I would say they were ciphers. So if you're using. Maybe not. Like the table of elements is not a word. And you would have to cipher like the AU. You'd have to understand that that was gold, and you'd have to understand that AS was arsenic, and you'd have to understand that, all of those things. So, I would say that within the chase, there was information that Forrest correctly told us needed to be deciphered. Decipher the clues in my poem. So potentially, Forrest told you to decipher the clues in his poem. Well, like I say, potentially, those words, decipher the clues in my poem, means you have to decipher the clues in the poem. So, a cipher of some sort, or some sort of deciphering. It is only one solve. It is only one solve. I'm not sure about that. Unless you are saying that the secret treasure and the chest in the Rocky Mountains are the same thing. I can't see how that's the case. No what matter? No ma'ams. F didn't say what? Decipher the clues in my poem. Yes, it did. Identify my newsstand edition. What about running back in fifth? Or back in third? English humour, that is. If you think about what Forrest said, he said, when you find out the answer, you will think, why didn't I think of that? Then he said, it's difficult but not impossible. Now, why didn't I think of that? It must be something really simple. Absolutely, amazingly, out of this world simple. And most of the solves that I have found or heard haven't got that. Most of them have got the difficult but not impossible because, obviously they were difficult and they've been solved because people say they've solved it, so they're not impossible. Oh, F didn't say that. You talk about the ciphers. Paul said no sofas. Simplify. Yes, simplify. I looked up the word and tried to work out what that meant. And I think I did all of those things that Forrest said. Including, please touch, don't step on a crack, etc., etc., etc. The kind of person solved my poem use deep thinking searcher using logic will be able to solve my poem, something like that. So what was deep thinking? What was logic? I did all of those things. The problem with the chase was Forrest told us, words don't mean what you think they do. So anything that Forrest said, you had to think, well, what does he mean? And if you weren't, then you weren't listening, which is one of the things it said in the poem. So hear me all, listen good. If the person who has done the hunt chase, whatever you want to call it, is telling you that words don't mean what you think they do, and you believe every word he says, then you're in trouble because he's telling you that there may be some embellishment, and there may be some substitution. He told us about the substitutes. He gave us that word tenacity. It didn't belong there. He gave us the word careen, elder, tail, right. There are plenty more. Bounce. The bully see how high I could bounce. Excuse me. Wouldn't bite down harder than a biscuit. It gave us Suki ate the mushrooms. A bit retarded like that. Lots of different occasions where you had to look a little bit deeper than what was being said. And the poem itself doesn't take 15 minutes if you just read it as what you see. It doesn't take 15 minutes to write. And it doesn't take 15 years to write if you just use the, one simple cipher that's in there. But it does take 15 years if you craft it. If Mum was looking out the window waiting for the postman, waiting for all those letters. And if you look up the words, you'll see that letters is prominent in some of the synonyms that are of the words that Forrest used. So if you're waiting for the postman, then obviously you're waiting for letters or parcels. But there are no, well, I suppose you could call parcels in the poem, but it's really letters that are in the poem. Ooh, 1973. Was it 1993? I even did a solve for that. I think something to do with hops and the Homer Brown. That's crazy things I did. A church in New Mexico where there was some sand and some water that sort of like came and went. I can't remember how that went, to be fair. That was a weird one. Yes, so I heard. But it's still not a simple poem. Well, it's a simple poem, but it's still not. It still needs a postman. Maybe Forrest is a postman. Maybe Forrest was a postman she was waiting for. Maybe that's why the ball of string had gone and the car was gone. Hi, Robert. How you doing? Or Rob, sorry. It's all good. All good. I'm not sure if that's a intentional error, but I thought it was Charlton Heston. That makes it sound like a dance. Do the Charleston. Good. I'm glad to hear. Are you anywhere near feeling good about the ending? So that's another thing. Whilst people said that the chase had already ended in 2020, I didn't believe that was ever the case. That the chase had ended, and all that came out, after that was part of, Forrest being gone and making it happen. See, somebody saying like that, Paul, makes, it's hard to believe that you don't know the behind the scenes, or you're just repeating what somebody else said. And that's another thing. So Is it? Are we going 15 years backwards? Excuse me. So we're going from 2025 back to 2010, or another point in time, or are we going from one point of time to another point of time before the chase? So it was 2010, 1995 to 2010. I thought of all these things, don't worry. Of the tire kick. Yeah, I don't think it was. It was about the money. The thing for me was, if Forrest was not worth millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, how could you put $1 million treasure chest out there? So, say I'm on 20 grand a year. It'd be like me, putting 5 grand out there for somebody to find. No, no, I'm not going to do that. It leaves me 15 grand. It's like, no. So, Forrest was worth 8 million. If it was worth 8 million and he puts $1 million out, it leaves him 7 million. I know it sounds, like, yeah, nothing wrong with that, but I find it difficult to believe that if you're not worth millions and millions and millions, you're not going to try and do that. I could be wrong. Forrest said, if you drive with more than $50 in your pocket, you're a failure. So maybe the whole point was to have $1 million. You've only got $1 million. You put $1 million out there. You've only got $50 left. But then, how do you keep the chase going? How do you survive? Those things just doesn't make sense to me. And reading the poem, it's nothing about. It's not about that. So the blueprint again. Yeah, there's some discrepancy about that, Rob. I don't know. I couldn't say for sure. Like, different people have different bits of information. But temple is a church. An early valuable recipe. Well, there are a lot of valuable things in that soul. No, in the poem. I keep saying soul, but I mean the poem. So the poem has many bits of information. Well, synonym is information and news, which is north, east, south, west, which is also a blaze. Yeah, so I appreciate that comment, Tim. So that's part of 2020 promise of new discoveries. Why would Forrest say that? Why would he say, "I wish I had another chest to hide in the Appalachians"? And even that, Zozo, before I started Santa Fe. Well, there's a Santa Fe in Texas. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying there is. A new revocable trust, Zozo, is for somebody who's not dead, isn't it? Or is dead. And then a revocable trust, which way is it? Which one's which? And which one is the one that we have? I believe that, why not? They've still got the jars and bells to find. Mm. Don't say that. So, I've already talked about this being at Casper and being um, told to get off my land, boy. Um, so that's where I was. That's where I went when I went to Wyoming. That's where I took the videos and said that what am I doing? It could be blaze. That could be heavy loads water high. That could be the blaze. That could be no place for the meek. And any of the places in America could match. They're all similar sort of places with similar sort of names. I had a wheel that was and a mountain to go up. And I wrote to Forrest saying I had no idea why he would choose Casper because I didn't know that Forrest and the family did go to Casper. Thinks he's given away something that would have been illegal for him to own. Not sure if it's illegal for him to own, but I think people are going to be shocked. Yeah, 100%. Dial of Destiny is written into the poem. The release dates, the trailer dates, it's all in there, and the other movies, even and Willy Wonka, and the Golden Ticket, and everything. People don't believe that there's that information in there, but yes, Tim, I absolutely do not know how he did it. I don't know, and that's something they did say. Rob his grave. So some good statements coming up now. Um, yeah. Oh, Douglas. Oh, that doesn't sound too good. You're in Douglas. Yeah, I was at Casper Mountain when I was in Casper. I had my own car there, but Bill took a video of it and sent it to Forrest. So is this the car that went missing? Which is the yeah? And even there, at Casper, there was this lady that was famous at Crimson Dawn or something, in that area, and there was Bambi and toast frogs and all sorts of things in that area. Very interesting place, Casper. Didn't get to see much of it. Didn't go to the place I wanted to go to, but I realised that. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Yeah, I think it was January 2020 that the trust was set up. Um, yeah, I agree, Zozo, with that. The Equalizer. Uh, hey, I just said it just looked, it didn't sound too good when you said that. Yeah, Douglas. Yeah, I was surprised. That's what I was saying. I was trying to read chat, see, and it took me off. Hi, Moose Turd Pie. No, thank you. Yeah, enjoy it, Davey. Wow, I'm glad you're okay. Hey, hi, Don Quixote. Who's going to take a slice? There's a lot of stuff in that poem five leaf, which is reason why I said, I don't know. I was concerned telling Forrest because I wasn't sure who Forrest was. I was surprised that the email was there. I was surprised that the phone number was there. I was surprised at all the people in the poem, and I was like, "Wow, what is this?" Pretty naive though. I put a lot of information, not a lot. All right, a lot. I gave Forrest a lot of emails. I was hoping to get some information back to clarify that, you know, Forrest was a good guy and that, this was above board. But and I wasn't in the chase long, so I didn't know all the ins and outs. And that's what I was saying. I didn't know that the family went to Casper. And the only reason I started to look into Casper was because of the insignia that they had. The mountain looks like the insignia for Air Force pilots in America. And I thought as he was flying over, he would see that. And that was like, from, Santa Fe going over to either, Wyoming or Montana or wherever he flew. He said he could fly 600 odd miles before worrying about having to land. Had to hard car under the overpass. Actually, I shouldn't be laughing, but yeah, I had to hide the car. Wow. I believe true it was in Casper. So let's go which was. Casper exactly. Yeah, so it talks about a triangle. Hi, Sophia. Did I say hi? It's good to read you. Do they, the publishers, who will not approach the solver? Oh, right, yeah. I understand it now. Yes, I agree with that as well, Zozo. Signed off the trust in 2020, yeah. Is the solver. You're saying you're the solver, Zozo? Casper is a ghost, exactly. It's there in spirit, so why not Casper? So why wasn't? Well, why hasn't that solver been contacted? I don't think any. You mean that in a bad way or a good way? Stick it to the solver. There was a stick in the chest, that's for sure. Casper. Silence is golden. Tears. Aliens, I think redneck. Maybe high redneck. We have heard of some sort. Of course, the government knows who it is. Government from blocking solver. Yeah, I don't see any harm in just being a person. Yeah, so Tim, your name, when I talk to David B, your name comes up a lot, as does Queen, because I know that, stuff that you found and stuff that Queen has found. And, that's, and I'm not going to say intentional to be found, but that it's there to be found. And, I know that you found your stuff, and I know that Queen, although Queen's not come on much, but her findings are as important as your findings. Don't think that they will hurt the solver. Just my opinion. I don't think they'll hurt the solver, and not so much. Not sure how much they would hurt Forrest. Not so much your findings, Tim, but there's information in that poem. There's incredible information. Yeah, I'm amazed that, and what you've done, Tim, is, especially as you're in America, I would never have been able to find those things that you found. You can find them in the poem, but I would never have been able to go over and just have a quick gander and see if I could find something. Stick key, yeah, stick key. So there was a stick key. There's something we talked about the other day. It was funny because it was a stick key note. So you put the solve on. Well, if the solver's name's Casper, I think if there is a true solver, all they're concerned about is that Forrest, gets what was supposed to happen. Can I make it happen the way it's supposed to be? Place where even memory hasn't been. Who says I can't affect the future? Those things should happen. And like I said, and I said, I sent an email to Forrest. I'm happy with the solve that I have, and this is just. I was expecting it to go to a certain point before things happened, but I won't say unaware of the rubbish, the cold, the fraud, the fake, the whatever else the synonyms are. I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was, and from the people that it came from. And then I thought, shit, I bet try and let people know there's something better than they're talking about. Care to expand for a possible reason? Ooh, I agree with plain as a sheep in the herd. Well, Forrest said, sometimes it's wise for the fox to dress like the hound. Pretty important statement. Don't go there, redneck. Don't go there. I found so much stuff in that poem about me. I'm like, I can't even remember it myself. How far is too far to walk? A few feet. Think that can happen. Solve the noise. Something like that, probably. Yeah, like I said, Tim, excuse me, you could walk around the secret garden with Forrest. There's so much information in that poem, but it's very specific. It's very precise. It's like a guided tour of where you could go, where you've been, where you're going. Well, the creek is the canyon down, and up the creek is that's another synonym that I was going to do. So there's so many words, but they're relevant, but not necessary. I don't want to bore you lot with all the synonyms that I went through and um, how they help you to just go what? That's too easy. The tax return, yeah, the maths. Why would a critical thing what to do with the... Well, I thought you said a deep thinking searcher, not a critical thinker. Although, some critical thinking is involved if you want to um, not believe your own stupidity half the time. Yeah, so just I am so wig. You know what my world's like then if you're making a statement like that. Just what? Yeah, there is a there is a well, there's a few tunes in there. There's definitely Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do in there, plus the anthem and plus other stuff. Which one was it? As I have gone alone in there with my treasures bold, I can keep the secret well into riches new and old. That sort of stuff. Hi, Lucky Digger, how are you? Didn't know you were in until just now. Good to read you. Tired of writing and ready to give up. Not give up the ghost. Don't give up the ghost. Don't give up Casper. No, I have never met anyone in the community either, nor Forrest, except in the poem. Uh-oh, more blood work. I hope everything's okay. It needs to be free on yourself. Gold man. Better than Goldfinger, I suppose. uh, yeah, it's long-winded, but yes, five leaf. No amount. I don't know. Depends how big the stick is. I think there's been a lot of beating in the chase, to be fair. No, not if it sounds like that, no. Send it my way then. Send it my way, Lucky, if you want. Oh, is money coming to your mailbox as well, Paul? Sold your soul. Who sold the soul? Yeah, so as I mentioned lots of times, there are lots of thoughts in that poem that Forrest wrote about. Just crazy information that it's a Fort Seminole as well. Fort Summer. I can't remember them all. Fort Yellowstone. Yeah, lots of information that went with it. Mm. Collins is a name. They must be aligned. Absolutely. The conjunctions are good for you. Did you get those conjunctions from the poem? Because there are plenty in there. Who's Golden? Oh, I missed the name. Hello, Golden. So a month ago, I confirmed Dinosaur as Canopy. Well, just for shits and giggles, 5. Go onto the word hippo app and look up Dinosaur. I think you'll be surprised. Wow. Can I have a mailbox as well? I could do some Visa, MasterCard, American Express, those sort of things. Yes, all of the above. And Lepidoptera and the ants and the elephants are in there as well. And some prehistoric animals and too much information. There's crazy, crazy stuff. Davey. Wackadoodle. Just seen that today, actually. I was looking up. What was I looking up? Joker. I think I was looking at Joker again. Wackadoodle. Or Maverick. Same thing. Ah, yes. I think Davey knows what you're saying there, Wig. Right. And Sophia saying the same thing. Wackadoodle. Yeah, just a synonym of those things. Well, I think the poem has been created with a brain, an amazing brain. And AI is just a brain. So, depending on the information you give to the AI, would depend on whether the AI will solve it. The only thing it would have to well, I don't know if it can narrow it down. Doesn't go down far enough. I think they're waiting for not necessarily the whole card, because Forrest said that he had that. I know Barbara goes on about the Hollywood ending, but maybe there is some sort of Hollywood in it. Wacky, but not a wackadoodle. No, it's definitely not a whack-a-mole either, but whack or something. That's all. Well, I keep thinking that that guy is Dave because he says he's that guy from these. From boiling hot shower. He's told us this one, yeah. I wouldn't like to have been that going through that, Bill. To be fair. There is a witch at Casper, or witches. Oh, some of those. I feel that every day. And I probably say it to Davey every time we speak. I don't know how he did it. Crazy. Hi, Greg. Yeah, not imagination, and that's the problem. I don't think it can go down deep enough, far enough, whatever you want to call it. Wow, Rob, you seem to know quite a bit. I wasn't expecting you to be forthcoming with such information. To be fair, um, I didn't think you were having any sort of light solves or anything. You've given up. Good. Spanish silver mines. Wow. What might he doing that? Why does it keep saying Goldman? Who's Goldman? Is that the real name of one of these people here? Yeah, I thought some of those things when I was there, but I was just so shocked that it was such a wide, expansive area and there was nothing there. At the airport, and that I'm talking about. It's like, what am I doing here? Mine. Ooh, mine. Yeah, and I think that's why he said it's important to know what's worth knowing and what isn't for us as a storyteller. Well, I took it to mean that the information that you have is not as it seems. So words don't mean what you think they do. So therefore, whilst you have the knowledge of those words, maybe for you to imagine. Dinosaur was based on Forrest. Yeah, I've already said that, Dave. That doesn't make sense. You know, his argument is that he saw Charlot digging, but the cross wasn't there when Charlot was digging, and then he came back and the cross was. So that means that Forrest didn't put the cross there. So how has Forrest related all this to Esther and Kent if he didn't even put the cross there himself? And I'm still unsure how you can get Kent and Esther to mean canaster. But yeah, Casper, you know, I can't say I'll have fond memories of Casper because I fell over the big curb that was. I wonder if I was called them dumb curbs because I fell over and burnt my flipping. Still got scars on my fingers. Um, and while I was walking up the mountain, I was thinking, I'm bleeding. If these wild animals, because wild animals are such here, smell my blood, I probably won't make it out. Yeah, it sounds like a kraken. Forrest kept moving stuff. And, if you read the poem, you can believe that's potentially possible. But everybody can find a solve in that poem. Everybody. Anywhere. In the world. Anywhere. In the galaxy, universe, whatever. Um, maybe 9 Mile Hole is a clue. Like I say, his solve is in the poem, so, or an answer of it, but it doesn't lend to what Forrest has said. I remember that, Tim. Who is that to, and how do you know just that detail? Ask politely. Touche. Exit. Ah, the exit. That's what I said, Sophia. Who does Zozo ask politely? Well, might need that tin foil when Nibiru comes through and the iron planet that is with it and screws over our electrical impulses. Makes us blithering idiots. Or zombies, even. Today, release the McCracken. Like an escape room in the rockets. Well, I work in distribution, so I'm alright with that. Soon, do you think that? Oh, so do you think that? My mind says it's not possible, but the poem says it's possible. I don't know how Forrest knew the information that he knew and knows. And, the poem talks about time travel, talks about aliens, talks about cryogenic facilities, talks about all the other stuff that I was, said about. So, remote viewing, wormholes, alternate realities. I don't know how he did it. Going to the future, bringing the poem back. The best way to do this hunt is to go to the future, get the answers, and bring them back. And then, the 15 years don't matter, do they? Excuse me, if you can just do that. I wish that's what I could have done. Go to the future, get the answers, come back. Well, we have a John Titor who has his own time traveling experience. And there are many people that claim to have done the same thing. So maybe that's where DB Cooper is. Would he have been about 13, Lucky Digger? Ah, pirate. Good man. How are you? It's not how big it is, it's how you use it, Paul. His has more power. Good night, Redneck. I hope you went through your bailout procedures. Don't just jump. Camera in your pocket, all that stuff. Can you imagine how crazy we'll do? Absolutely, Greg. 100% correct. The contradictions are just crazy. Fort Casper. Yeah. So I think I did a. If you don't know what you're looking for, how you're going to find it with purse, chest, fort, and camp. And I swapped those words around, talking about a camp and a purse, and I was really talking about a chest and a fort. You're not going to find it in a camp, and you're not going to be looking for a purse. So, unless you know what it is that you're actually looking for, how are you going to find anything? Oh, I missed that, but I'd like to know. What was that? Oh, I need a decent laptop that doesn't keep freezing. How much money should the solver get? Seriously, if one and only one solved it, and it was that different, how much? Well, don't tell you what the poem says, but it's not a small amount. Back to the Future. Oh, it was the flux capacitor. How do you keep? It was just a joke. I wish I hadn't said it now. Casper Quagmire. Yeah, Forrest talked about that as well. Yeah, that's crazy. That oil and that. Oh, across the railroad tracks. Wow, Rob, have you been looking at my work? 9. Oh, is that when he found his first arrowhead? Yeah, so I watch the programs like Stargate and that, and I believe that most of the Star Trek, etc. Most of the information we get in these programs are because they've already been done, and we progress. Forrest was supposed to have made his own spaceship, UFO, whatever they call them nowadays. Well, is that the same thumb that he covers Philadelphia with? Thanks, Rob. Yeah, that was a strange place, Casper. We said Q clearance, so that's pretty high up. You don't get much higher than that. Well, you probably do. I don't know. Never been that high. Oh, more suing. That reminds me of the dolls. Well, there was a computer that was found in England that purportedly got information from the past and the future. But for that to give information from the past to the future, somebody would have had to come back in time. But they did give messages back to the same computer, IBM, something or other computer. It's all over the internet. I'm sure if you want to look for it, you can find it. 1984, 1980 something, I don't know, can't remember. Yeah, and oil would be a riches, wouldn't it, as well? So, Casper could be good for a while. And most of the stories that Forrest talked about could be related to Casper. We'll say most of the stories. The material, the subject matter. That's a funny name to have, Italian. Well, the wind will affect the chest. Yeah, it was Cheyenne. How Cheyenne became the capital, I don't know. I think Cheyenne's the capital of Wyoming, isn't it? Yeah, I think that was the possibly, make the lines cross, kind of make it happen the way it's supposed to, which means, well, maybe it's already happened, or maybe, it's been seen. World-class solver status. I don't know, there's been some amazing things that have been solved. World-class solver status. Well, that's yeah. So I was in that train of thought for a while, Tesla, and the Colorado place that he had, and blah blah blah. So yeah, I believe that's possible, and I think that that energy has been used. All the stuff, his stuff disappeared. So one would assume the government had it and then made use of it. I think none of them are worth the salt, and they can all stuff it. I do not sell. So are you saying Dave's a solve and he's worth 130 million? Or are you saying you? In 29, just before he was. Oh, hi, JK, how you doing? Ah, there's a Hollywood ending. Bill was on Hollywood production. Well, I hate to admit it, but the information's that, as far as I can see, is out in the internet. If people were prepared to shift, drift, adjust, move with confidence, all the stuff that Forrest said. Unless you just want to, be told the answer. Punitive. Someone said. Yeah, I've heard that Dave and Barbara have been told, but you know, I'm reluctant to believe it because that gives them a. I mean, probably if Forrest had had enough, but no, you didn't solve it, shut up, sort of thing. But that would give them an advantage because if once you're told that your solve is incorrect, you can do another one. But it's possible that he did. Wow, week. That's something I didn't know. Damages. Well, the blaze was damaged, so if you solve a direct communication, and that's not there for for the good to know. Sure, they're waiting in line to buy tickets to watch this shit show. Well, this shit show will not always be a shit show. Then this shit show will be, I don't know. I'm reluctant to say Chase 2 because I think the thrill of the chase just goes on. So I don't think there have been any mistakes. I mean, I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes, but it'd be like me saying, I didn't realize about the mistakes on Apollo 13 because I wasn't there. So you don't even know if they told you. Well, if you take a fork in the road, they take it together. Well, whilst I'm not sticking up for Barbara, I find it hard to believe that Forrest has not heard of the search area. So I'm thinking that there was another meaning behind that statement. Because I'm pretty sure Forrest knew every nook and cranny of New Mexico, or Wyoming, or Colorado, or Montana, or Idaho, or Utah. They've got. Well, I think they're errors. Forrest said something like that. Never involved. Well, Forrest never said he would be anywhere else. Forrest wanted to be in the middle. He wanted those days to come back. Well, I can't, speak for anyone else, but I don't think, I wouldn't be afraid in the sense that I feel this was meant to be honoured. So whatever was planned is being done. I suppose in the early days, I may have thought a little bit differently. How dare you? How dare you find out the things that you found out? The interesting thing is, I know exactly what's going on. The frustrating thing is, I have no idea why. Because Forrest did something unique. And if he told you, you wouldn't believe it. Yeah, it's not a case of rich people, it's a case of a person. Ceiling fan, my cooling fan. My computer seems to be, you know, racing away to keep itself cool. I was explaining to Davey, the reason why I have so many problems is, and I don't know how to get rid of them, is I go into my task manager and try and stop the 20 odd internet pages that are open. So at the moment I have 3 open, but if I went into Internet Explorer, into Task Manager, it would say there's 20 odd, and they're using an extravagant amount of power and resources. And the same, with Zoom, it'd be like I've got 8 meetings on the go, and I know I haven't. So my computer's like working at 100% and racing. So if you can hear stuff, that's what you hear, and that's why I have the issues with the videos and stuff. Which is why I want a different computer. And I've tried, going to Task Manager and end those tasks, and they just come back. So I give up trying to do it. Of course, which people, if no one knows, then Netflix. Wasting money, tired of Cynthia Dash, etc. I think they're just part of the, making it happen. What do I do for a living? I am working in distribution, so I work for DHL, which is a name that you probably know well. And I, pretty much did everything there, but I'm just an order picker now. And retiring in September. My body's said, that's it, I've had enough. Nice, Zozo, good. More people that agree with those sort of things. It's a good world. Well, the whole point of those things is to let a community know that it's fake in order to make it move forward. There should have been no angst. What were those words? Forrest learned 8 words. Dread. So none of all that stuff. Stars of the canopy. So sometimes thanks Tim. Yeah, I'm a bit too young to retire, but with all the things that have gone on, it's just I'll be stupid to carry on, doing 10-hour days. I need to sort of like rest up, and maybe if I need to do a part-time job, I'll do that. But yeah, Forrest only has an obligation so far as he said that he was going to. I don't believe that he mentioned the family had any such, thing to protect the finder solve or whatever. I think all the information that's out there, including information I put out, is that varied that there is no confirmation as to what actually happened. And I think as long as everything's made to happen the way it's supposed to happen, in the long run, it wouldn't matter who the solver was. Only that there was a solve, and that solve is real and correct, and that Forrest did what he set out to do. The only concern is I wouldn't like to think that Forrest only had $50 in his pocket to have achieved it, or that the family suffered because of it, or which is something I talked to Dave about. I never did this so as I could take money away from people. Originally, I just wanted the chest, and then it became, sort of like working with my friend, looking for the poem and, finding answers and stuff. And while it would be nice to have, money, I didn't want to take money out of, other people's pockets. I think it'd be difficult for anybody who gained any sort of money to be anonymous. Somebody somewhere will say something. Whether it be your family or your friends or your enemies. Somebody somewhere will say, look at him. He's gone from having this to having this. Where did he come from, Josh Jordan? And even Josh, he's part of, this information giving community. Oh my God, they've killed Kenny. South Park. Yeah, I think, you can look at it two ways. I think making something happen doesn't make it fraudulent. It just means, you have to go, in order to make it happen properly, you have to go, and do things that maybe, look a bit weird. It wouldn't surprise me if Josh was in here, to be fair. And like I say, there's nobody in the chase that I dislike. I I get concerned at times about whether they cross the line or not. And Frank, if you're still here, you're one of them. I was like, what? But, the making it happen, it depends how much, how near the knuckle that is. I also thought it was a bit creepy. Like that. Can't shoot down with a probate case. Yeah, and I don't know, it's so, it's, it's, it's so already lost. It's like, is it meant to be just to go through the motions? Yeah, I just think everybody has a story to tell, and it's meant to be told. Yeah, there is. Hi, Evan. Um, I'm playing the thrill of the chase. That's what I'm playing. Um, and in that, there are many side games that you have to play. Yes. But he did have about 20 videos, didn't he? I mean, I think we all think he was right. He's speaking for the community when he said this. But, and I've said on his channel, I think, or I said it on my channel as well, but, I can't remember where I was going to go with that. But, oh yeah, Josh, his videos are like 3-4 months apart. They all come out on the same day, and I'm like, hang on a minute. Your hair's grown, 6 inches. You're all in different clothes and everything, and your videos are like made 6 hours apart, or 3 hours apart, or an hour apart. And you've suddenly grown a beard, and you've suddenly grown long hair, and etc. etc. And it's like, when did you do these videos? So I think they're already planned, and they just come out as and when they're needed. He is Western Pass. And again, I talk about, people saying that it was found in 2000, but out in 2003, found in 2006, which is 3 years. It was put out in 2010 and found in 2013, which is 3 years. So coincidences. I didn't know Ben had a show, otherwise I probably wouldn't be on mine. And I don't know why, Dave Woodard said, "Do your homework, Mario," because it's pretty much the fact that I did my homework that made me comment on his channel. He talks about superheroes, but he's never talked about Super Mario. And he's in a court case about litigation, so it would be a shock if one of his superheroes, or a superhero, was to end the litigation for him. Well, Forrest said, "I hid a chest in the Rocky Mountains." So, yeah, Ben has more. You're not Ben. You're not. No, you can't be. I know the solver wouldn't sue anybody. Or, well, I say I know the solver wouldn't sue anybody. If the solver solves it, the solver wouldn't. There's no need to sue anybody. Yeah, it is very odd, isn't it? That it's like, what? Well, I think I'm your friend, Lucky, and I live very far away. And that's what I said to David B. Evan. I don't think that Dave is going in to prove his solve. He's trying to prove that there was fraud. Because his solve, Dave on his own can't prove his solve. Because excuse me, there's lots of solvers out there that can come and say, no, this is a solve. And then another person can say, no, this is a solve. So Dave on his own can't prove his solve. Bill, stop it. So, and Josh says he's not even a searcher. He just stumbled on it, which is one of the things that Forrest said you weren't going to do. Yeah, he was in the program that's in the poem. I'm Still Standing, or something like that. And other stuff. But, I mean, the poem is pretty accurate, precise, I would say. So, there aren't too many people that aren't in that poem that are in the chats. And I don't know whether they choose the name because Forrest gave them the name, or they choose the name because they know it's in the poem. I don't know how they get the names, but the names are in the poem. Hi, John, you're right. I think so. If you understand what warm was, that could help. Co-workers to the chest from If Dave can't prove his soul, then he can't. If Dave can't prove his soul, then he can. Who's he? Is that supposed to then who can? Dave won't be able to prove his solve, being correct or incorrect. You can't prove his solve is wrong, and you can't prove his solve is right unless you're Forrest Fenn. Yes, he did say that. He was lying on the floor. Well, if I was a judge, I'd say, well, hang on a minute. You said that Forrest Fenn hid this chest and he put this cross there. But then before you actually went again, to get it, you said there was no cross there. So Forrest didn't put a cross there. Charlotte put the cross there. So therefore, why have you given me this solve? This solve doesn't make sense. There is no cross there to start with. So therefore, Forrest didn't do a solve about Kent and Esther. If I was a judge, that's what I'd say. You told me there was nothing there, and then you told me after Charlotte was digging, there was a cross. So Forrest didn't put it there. So how is it Forrest's solve if he didn't make the cross and put it there? Going too quick. Real problems. Hit the enter button. It's 2. Yeah, I think once you have to use imagination, you as far as AI goes, you're probably stuck. But AI is improving and may be able to, think outside the box and then get back inside the box. Yeah, but that's Forrest Fenn's imagination giving you an answer. That's why the AI won't give you that answer. Candle. Dan Barbarisi is doing that. Kendall and Amber Barbie. That's in there. Like I say, I don't think that Dave solved. I think the fact that he stated himself that there was nothing there, I don't know how you can go past that point. I don't know how you make a solve from nothing. If there's nothing there, in his first instance of finding the place, how does he then create a solve after the solve is already had? He's already got a solve, that's why he's there. So how does he have a solve after the cross goes there? It doesn't make sense. And if I was a judge, I'd be like, hang on a minute, no. This is, for me, I'll be thinking part of the script, because basically what you've done is you've gone to a place because you've got a solve, and then there now is a cross there, and your solve is a different solve because it's based around this cross that wasn't there when you already went there. It helps with your solve, but it wasn't there when you first went there. So did you put it there yourself? Did Dave put the cross there? That's what I'd be thinking if I was a judge. I'd say, let's look at this video that you put out. Nothing there. Charlotte was digging. Now there's a cross there. But you were already there because Charlotte was digging that. So you were already there with your solve. And now your solve involves this cross that has just turned up out of nowhere. But you didn't need it originally because you were already there. Crazy. But that's what I think. It definitely wasn't Super Mario, that's for sure. From Sanford and Sons. Well, and that's another thing Forrest talked about advertising, which is another word you should look up. Or advert. Kryptonite boy. It's nowhere. There's no place for meat. Well, like I say, I wouldn't even bother to listen to the solve, because if there's no cross before he made his solve, he made his solve and there wasn't a cross there, and he got to that place without the cross. What's that got to do with Forrest Fenn? There wasn't a cross there, you got to this place. Now, to prove your solve, you use this cross that suddenly materialized, with Kent and Esther on it. Don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But if there's no cross there to start with, it's nothing to do with Forrest. That place that you ended up at, it's nothing to do with Forrest. Other than Forrest knew that that was going to be a solve. What's that? Just introduce magic friends to so. Doesn't work out. Well, don't like hot water either. He's assuming that Shiloh went digging there, but there wasn't a cross there. It doesn't matter who was digging there. It doesn't matter if it was Santa digging there. Fact is, there was no cross when he first got to the spot. He found the spot, no cross. Then there is a cross, and now he's solved his base around that cross, which is a man-made structure, which is what Forrest said wasn't part of the solve. So his solve doesn't get off the ground for me in that sense that there wasn't a cross there. You just told us there wasn't a cross there. In your last video that said you were going to go and get Shiloh, you told us there wasn't a cross there, but you're saying that that's your solve. It's like, well, how has Forrest put a cross there after you already found the answer? Excuse me. But like I say, the cross is irrelevant. In Dave's own words, there wasn't a cross there when he was at the Pope. When he was at the Pope, when he was at the solve, he found that place without the cross, and then he found it again with the cross. So, Homer Brown, no place for the meek, and is ever drawn nigh, doesn't matter. You've concocted a solve after you already had a solve. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, the Palisades. You consider those stumps to be the Palisades. I think it's Forest gone. There was a forest there, and now there isn't. Which blaze would this be? I didn't say the blaze, it was a man-made structure. So the cross is a man-made structure, and the chest is not associated with a man-made structure, yet his solve is all about a man-made structure. And that it means canaster, blah, blah, blah. But all of that is irrelevant because when he first went to the spot, he did it without a cross. In his own video, in his own words. So if I was the judge, I'd just say, look, stop the trial. Forrest Fenn did put that cross there. You were already there without that cross. So the rest of it's all made up by you. I think he thinks Charlotte took the cross. I think he thinks Charlotte took the cross. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, whilst I can agree with that, Evan, he found the spot without that cross, without the cross. So the cross is irrelevant. If you can find the spot without the cross, what part does a cross play in any solve? You're already there. For a man named Ken Esther. Yeah, aspen was another word that Forrest used, and ashen, and they're interesting words. Or maybe even a woman. Yeah, in today's world, can you say a man-made structure? And nailed down is an interesting statement as well. Forrest. Forrest was unknown. Forrest. It's hard to be unique because of the unknowns inside the forest. Maybe. Oh, hi, Chi Trips. How are you? Yeah. I wasn't expecting that without a smiley face or anything on there, but ass disease. I can't say that Dave's wrong. Like I say, his solve is in the poem. I'd just say that the information you're giving does not tell you what Forrest says, which is bad enough, but it doesn't tell you what you said. If the cross is not there and you found the spot without the cross, why are you using the cross at all? What, if any, credence does the cross give to the spot? If you found the spot without the cross, you didn't need the cross to find the spot, and yet that's what you're using. It doesn't make sense. The only time you'd know that your solve was correct is if you went there the first time and the cross was there, and then you went there the second time and it wasn't there. But you're saying it the other way around. You went the first time and it wasn't there, and you went back and it was. How can you find the spot without the cross? And how would you know that cross was there? Or was supposed to be there? It doesn't make sense. But like I say, it could be scripted. It was a sick show. Eek. Well, timed is a good word. So, Terrace Camp with Marvel Gaze, take the jesting home piece. There has to be a reason that Forrest gave you all that information, or gave us all that information. Get the heck out of there. What? No. There's no reason for Forrest to say that unless it's part of the solve. Another thing Forrest said was, well, if leaves and twigs and stuff blew in there, just paraphrasing, it has to be in somewhere. The solve has to be. Otherwise, there's no need for Forrest to say that either. And Dave's solve is out in the open. And it's where trees are anyway. So the leaves and twigs and that, they're not blown in there. So that's part of the answer you need as well. Why would Forrest say that? Yeah, but he's saying there was no cross there when he went there. And then there was a cross there. So if you didn't need the cross to get there in the first place, why do you need the cross there at all? Doesn't matter who put the cross there. It wasn't there for Forrest to have put it there. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone to the spot because he'd be looking for a cross. And there was no cross there. It just doesn't make sense with the stuff that he said. Yeah, and that's a weird word as well, bush. Ignore crosses. Well, you have to make all the lines cross. This is what Forrest said. So there's something you need to think about. How does that work? So, I said I think I put it out here, that if found is begin, then you found it where warm waters halt. And the rest of the information then becomes, well, I don't need that. If it was found where warm waters halt. So at warm waters halt, whatever that is, that's where it's found. And it was also found below the home of Brown. If the synonym of found is put in, which it is. So reading that poem, in the imagination could mean you don't go past the first two clues, which is solve the first two clues, you're 50% there, metaphorically speaking. Solve the first two clues, walk right by the chest. If I told you the home of Brown, you go right straight to it. The little girl from India can't get closer than the first two clues. Solve the first two clues, it's academic after that. All of that information is saying two clues, two clues, two clues, two clues. So all those people that are going past that point, going further away from the chest, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be wrong. In that state park. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Evan, but what I'm saying is he got there without the cross. He didn't need the cross to find it. He found the place without the cross. Then when he went back, the cross was there. So what's the cross got to do with anything? The cross has got nothing to do with anything. If I go out into the wilderness and I'm looking for a chest and I come to this precise spot and there's no cross there, but here it is. This is the spot I need. This is where the chest is. And even while I'm there, I don't dig it up. I go away and I come back and there's a cross there now. And that becomes part of my solve now because there's a cross there. Even though I was already there and I didn't dig up the chest when I was there, I went back to dig up the chest. It doesn't make sense. I'm not saying it's wrong, it just doesn't make sense. And maybe I'd have to hear from Dave exactly, in his words, how it does make sense, but it's just weird. Excuse me. They talk about Forrest falling now. Lucky. You don't move from the spot. So the end is the beginning. You don't move from the spot. You get to the spot and you stay there and you see the blaze, and at that point you know where you're supposed to be, and you take the chest and go in peace. But you don't tear a scamp with marvel gaze. Yeah, I think if you change your soul, then it may, more than likely be incorrect, because I can't change mine. Absolutely, I can't. I can't tweak it. I can't do anything. I can't make it any better. It is what it is. And if you're changing it, so, in 2020, it's still the same. You can't do anything with it. If you go right straight to it, that's it. You go right straight to it. There's no need for anything else. There's no need for any internet searches. There's no need for facts. There's no need for history. There's no need for anything. You just go right straight to it. And you know where it is. You know where it is. And you go to it. This Dave has posted of the cross. There's also a small slab of concrete behind that cross. I didn't know that. Yeah, mine stopped in. Um, well, I told Forrest in 2020 before the chest was found that I was happy that I wasn't searching anymore. Some clues lead you to an empty field, and the only thing there is a spot where someone had been digging. And later you go back and that spot has a cross. It's not an empty field though, is it? It's a small piece of land right by a car park. But you found the spot without the cross. So how can you build your solve around a cross that didn't exist? If the cross is not there and you found that place in the field without the cross, you don't need the cross. The cross is irrelevant. Now, you couldn't find that exact place if your solve was about the cross, because the cross had to be there. Otherwise, you wouldn't find the place. You can't find the place without the cross. So, therefore, the cross is irrelevant. If the cross wasn't there when you first found it, does it need to be there when you went back? You could go back to the same place in that field where you were without the cross and dig up whatever you're supposed to be finding. You don't need the cross, is what I'm saying. You don't need it. And therefore, it throws your solve out. If you don't need the cross, you can walk into a field with no cross there and go right to a place where something was hidden without a cross. Then throw the cross away, go to the spot, dig it up. You don't need the cross. But you would have to know that someone was digging there, wouldn't you? So basically, the clues, you didn't need the clues. You walked into an empty field, you saw someone had been digging somewhere, and you thought, oh, that's where Forrest hid his treasure. I'll go away and come back. And then when he came back, there's a cross there. I don't get it. And I'm not saying, you could be right in that, whatever you're saying, Evan. It doesn't make sense to me. But, we live in different countries. I may think totally different. The park rangers probably across there. Well, got to hit the bed. Good night, Wig. Good night, Wig. Thanks for commenting. Cheers. Thank you for that. And I do appreciate these people that do say, nice things. And I don't mind if you say something bad as long as you explain why you think it's bad. But thanks, Wig. Justin knows he has cameras. Yeah, I don't get the statement of the cross. And I think the cross should be there. But if that's what it's for, I just don't get that Dave says it's not there. Then how can it be part of the solve? Because it had to be there in order for Forrest to be part of the solve, and it makes sense. But if you can find the spot without the cross, then I don't get what the cross has got to do with it. Doesn't make sense. If the cross is not there and you find it, you don't need the cross. The cross didn't lead into that spot. No way. Otherwise, he wouldn't have found it. And he would have had to have seen the cross first to know that it was Kent and Esther. See you, Tim. Thanks for coming. Yeah, it's 17 minutes past 3 in the morning here. The clues were supposed to take him to the car park. Then he was supposed to see the cross. I'm saying you didn't see the cross. Or he didn't see the cross. So why would you go there? Hi, Lulu. How are you? Yeah, take care, Tim. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, but again, he would have to have known that Kent and Esther was the name on the cross before he went there. He would have to have known that to know that it made sense. Otherwise, you wouldn't find it. You could get to the car park and you could look around and you wouldn't find it unless the cross was there. But, it could make sense, but to me, it just doesn't. The way that he said it in that video doesn't make sense. And, he could have made a mistake with what he was saying, but it just doesn't make sense. And that's what I think. I think he built his solution to what he found, not he had a solution and found what his solution led him to. And that's why I say, if I was the judge, I'd have to throw it out because it looks like he forced a solution, around stuff that he found. He didn't find a solution. He found a place to fit his soul. And I can't say it's wrong, but from his own mouth, the stuff that he says doesn't make sense. What's that? Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not being, playing devil's advocate or being pedantic, or I'm thinking the same with Dave's soul as I did with mine, and I had loads of souls. And I was as critical with my own souls, which is why I say critical thinking needs to be, part of it, as well as deep thinking and logic. You have to be able to say, Mario, well, not Mario, you're wrong, but you can say Mario, you're wrong if you want, but you have to be able to say, I'm wrong. You have to look at it and use the information that you've got, and if it's wrong, say it's wrong, and then start on another one. Which is why I think if Forrest said to Barbara and Dave that they're wrong, it gives them an advantage because they can say, oh, good, I'll start another solve, rather than stick with the one they've got, which is possibly wrong. Ooh, cool. Treasure chest. I know what you're saying, Evan. I'm saying he found the place without the cross there. A random place without the cross there. If you're looking for a cross, then you go to where the cross is. If you're looking for a cross and there's no cross there, then you don't go anywhere. You're still looking for a cross. But he knew where he was going without the cross being there. So irrespective of somebody putting it back or not, there wasn't one there. In anybody's mind, logically, if there is no cross, your solve is wrong. If you don't see a cross that you're expecting to see in the ground where you've gone to, your solve's wrong. And you don't bother going back because your solve is wrong. But he knew he was in the right place without the cross. So, I don't know. It's possible that that's the case, but for me, it's like, well, you didn't need the cross, so why did you place relevance on it? You found it anyway, and why didn't you dig it up when you were already there? Because there was no cross to say it was a special place. It was just somebody had dug something. And how long ago was it dug up? Because it doesn't take too long for something to be dug up for the soil to just look the same as it was before. It just dries out and becomes soil again. So he's probably there a couple of hours before him, or a day or two. But it just doesn't make sense. And like I say, I'm just doing what I would have done with my own soul. If I was there and there was no cross, I'd be like, no, not here. Oh, right, there you go then. You know, I'm just saying what I would have done though. If there was no cross there, I'd just go, not here. I was wrong. There's no cross. I won't go back again and go, oh, cross is here now. Somebody dug it up and took it away. I can't say he's wrong, but I'm just saying if it was me, I'd throw it out. I'm saying if you get there and there's nothing there, you think my soul's wrong. Unless you want to make it right. Again, you know, you dig it up when you're there. If there's no cross there, there's no reason not to, dig or even have a metal detector with you or whatever. I'm sure there's a metal detectors allowed at the car park, and even if it wasn't, it would only take a couple of seconds to do it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not trying to, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying my point of view, no, I wouldn't do it. No cross there, nothing there to say that there's a chest here. That's it. I was wrong. Next. I'm not saying Dave's wrong. I'm saying I would say no, not here. Yeah, he may have done, but like I say, if it was me, once I went there and looked, and there was nothing there to say it was here, I wouldn't. Yeah, in my opinion, the clues just go, just take you there. That may be, but like I say, I'll be like, nope, not here. Yeah, like I say, he could be 100% correct, and everything that he did, if he explains, in a way that I understand, could all happen, could all have happened the way that he or you are stating. But even then, that cross is a man-made structure, and he's basing his soul around that man-made structure. And Forrest said it's not associated with a man-made structure. So therefore, he can't associate the chest with that cross. He has to find the chest without the aid of that cross, which he did originally, and then a cross came along. So I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying if it was me, I would throw it out and start again. Listen, it's hard to know what goes through my mind, let alone anybody else's. So, Dave probably has really good reasons why he was where he was. Even if all of what we just talked about is correct, it's still a man-made structure. And it's associated with the chest. Not only that, it's almost tantamount to touching the chest when you put the cross on the ground. So you don't get more associated than that with a man-made structure. And that cross is a structure. And potentially man-made, unless someone's going to say, oh, it was a woman. But or an alien. Or some other term that an animal made it. And I don't say that's wrong. I say if it's me, I throw it out, and I throw out a lot of really good souls. I believe he's wasting his time. I believe that he can't prove his soul. He can't prove that Shiloh was there. There's nothing that he can prove. While they may be, great conjecture, there's nothing that he can prove. And even if it went to court and was, heard over a length of time, at the end of it, there's no proof of anything. Only, the fear that all these things took place. Rules. I think, I don't get what if it's part of the narrative, then, there could be a reason that it happens that way. And the poem does mention something about, the litigation. But if it's just a searcher who is peed at not being able to claim what he thinks it is, going to court is not going to get him that chest or anything. It'll just cost him a lot of money because he can't prove anything. I'm not being, vindictive or horrible. I'm just saying he cannot prove anything. He can't prove his soul. Even if it's a good soul, he can't prove it. He can't prove that Shiloh or the family did, were there. The only thing he may have, somebody listen to is that Jack is not the finder. And even that, he can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, like I say, there is nothing that he can prove. Even, the fact that Jack isn't the finder, he can't prove that. He can put circumstantial evidence out. That's all it is. He can't prove anything. That's what I'm saying. He can't, even if he has a good solve, he can't prove anything. And he can't prove his solve correct as good as it is, or as good as he thinks it is. He can't prove that that's the correct solve. He can't prove that Jack is not the finder. He can't prove that Shiloh took the chest or was there at all. And he can't prove anything that he thinks that Shiloh did, with or without Forrest Fenn's knowledge. It's just all guessing. Like I say, unless it's part of the narrative, because I don't see. I understand the gold fever. I went over to America to pick up a chest of treasure and just put it in my pocket and go back on the plane. So I understand that, being blinded by gold. But, enough people have told him that there are holes in what he's saying. He should just take a little bit of time to, think that may be the case. Thanks, Lucky Digger. As usual, it's been good stuff. I'll go as well. I mean, the reason why I'm up late is because I don't need to go to work, so I don't care if I'm staying up late. So this is a good time for me. But yeah, the chest that Jack has talked about was the chest that was in the book The Thrill of the Chase. And that's been, at the Heritage Auctions and done and dusted. Yes, we do all have a little bit of brain damage. Hey, Golden Key Growers, howdy. Mhm. Hi, Imagination of Innocence. I hope you got my reply. Um, as I said in it, most cordial person in the chase, to be fair, and no issues at all. So you've changed the avatar. I remember you from the big glasses. It's just a true statement. You know, I can't think of, and I've already said this, before. Apart from Troy calling me a clown, I don't think I've had many issues with anybody. And to be fair, it's hard to know, if someone's been spiteful or hateful or vindictive, because that's who they are. It's just part of the chase, and they're just trying to see what happens. All right. I didn't know that. Not that that changes my, opinion on the solve or anything. Just I didn't know that. To be fair, I think, if people are thinking of suing, I don't feel they have enough, even though they say they have um, belief in their soul. I don't think they believe it to the extent that it's foolproof. Otherwise, they wouldn't. The only thing that concerned me in the chase was the fact that people made those statements about, Forrest and now about Shiloh, which never has any proof behind it. It's only, weird and wild statements, usually said in anger because of something they think or feel, and not because of any proof. Hi, Amy. How you doing? Good to read you. Hope all is good. Thanks, imagination. Well, I've never come on here to try and prove anybody wrong. I've tried to prove Forrest right or correct, and if I prove Forrest is correct, and I believe and have faith in Forrest, then hopefully it means that I'm correct in whatever opinion I have. I can't discount anybody's solve because I'm not Forrest Fenn. So it's worthwhile listening to the negative and the positive and listening to other people's solves. And, you know, basically I just do what I do with my solves. I try and pull them apart, and I got to the point where I was happy with I can't pull this apart. This is it. This is what it has to be. Oh, thank you for saying that though. It's I mean everybody likes to have good things said about them, but I don't even mind if people say bad things as long as they explain why they think it's bad. About 5'6" and fat, a little bit big, not very tall. I quite easily fit under doors and stuff like that, but I find it hard to reach high places. I've got Tyrannosaurus Rex arms that don't go too far. Yeah, I think some people, if you say something, lie enough times, you believe it yourself. So, you know, I'm only going by the last video that Dave did, and it just says that it doesn't seem right. I like the Palisade sill bit. I like the sill. Palisades is, I've already told and shown people is a synonym, but then so is golden and other names that um, could be place names where you go to. So just another one that becomes what's name. Well, the why is because there are people. I'm not saying these people in the community because I think most of it's narrative that has to be done just in case these things happen